Now that we have those set up for the most part, I'm going to go into the outliner and name them each. So I'm going to start with the left arm pole con. And I'm going to use the word pole here because the pole vector is going to be what we're constraining these controllers to the IK with. So then next up we have the right arm pole con. So I'm just going to copy that name over in the outliner. And then down here we have the right leg pole con. I'm going to copy that over to the left leg pole con. And now we can actually take all of these controllers in the outliner and go to modify and freeze their transforms. So they no longer have those transformation values. And from there, we can constrain them to the IKs. So you want to first select the controller. So I'm going to select the left arm pole controller. And then in the outliner, I'm going to hold down Control and select the left arm IK. Then in the rigging tool set, you can go up to constrain and you'll find that pole vector right there. And you can click that and you'll notice a vector appearing between the controller and attaching to the base of that IK. And so to test that out, you can grab that controller and move it around a little bit. And you can see now the elbow is pointing at that controller wherever it goes. And to make it a little more obvious, I'm going to grab this IK and move the arm in. And then I'll grab the controller. And you can see now that shoulder just completely follows along and we have control over it now. So for the next arm, the right arm here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to select the controller itself. And then the outliner, I'm going to control select the right arm IK and hit the G key to redo that constraint. Now the legs have a couple more steps involved because, like I said before, this constraint offsets the joints a little bit. So if we were to do that to the knee right now, see how the knee sort of points off into this other direction, sort of where the toes are pointing? If we did that, it would rotate our foot and we'd lose our alignment with the inverse joints that we've created. So if I unhide those, you'll see our inverse joints again. And all we need to do now is the same as we did before, and that's select the root of each inverse foot system and parent it to the hip. So I'm going to select the left inverse heel, and I'm going to shift select the left hip joint here. And I'm going to be careful not to select the IK itself. If you select the IK, it'll actually turn purple. And if you're unable to select the hip, you can go into the outliner and find that hip joint that you're looking for and select it through there. So now that I have those selected, I'm just going to hit P and parent them together. So now they're going to move with each other for now. This is temporary again. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. Select the right inverse heel and then shift select the right hip there and press P. And now those are going to be attached to each other and move with each other while we constrain our pole vector controllers. Now that that's done, we're going to see how much this constraint is actually going to displace our leg joints. And we do that by constraining them, just for a test. So I'm going to select the left leg pole con, and I'm going to control select the left leg IK in the outliner, and go to constrain and pole vector. And now at this point, it should be pretty obvious that we've moved these joints quite a bit. They've rotated quite a lot there. However, if we take our controller here and move it to the side, we can see how much we actually moved it by looking at the translate values here. So by getting these kind of approximately where it was before, we know where to position our controller once we're finished with this test. So I'm going to put it about there. I'm just going to say 20, so it's a round number. So about at 20 is where we were. And I'm going to undo this by using Control Z. And I'm simply going to move our pole controller over 20. And I'm going to do the same with the other side. I'm going to do minus 20 on this side. And now, let's select them both and freeze transforms, modify freeze transformations. And now when we constrain these to the IKs, I'm going to do the left leg first and do constrain pole vector. We see much less movement and we're still kind of in a happy place here with our positions. And our inverse joint chain is still in alignment with our foot bones. So everything's looking good, and we can constrain the other leg as well. So I'm going to select the right leg pole con and the right leg IK and press G to redo that. And there we have it. We have control over our knees just like we do with our arms. And our feet are still pointing in the right direction. So if we move these back and forth, we'll see the knees follow. So now we're done with our little mock-up here. We can actually unparent these inverse joints from our leg now. So I'm going to select the heel joint on the inverse system, and I'm going to do Shift P and unparent that. And I'll do it for the other foot as well, Shift P. And now we'll see in the outliner, just like we did before, our inverse joints have moved out of the main hierarchy of the skeleton and into their own little groups here. So I'm going to scooch those back up to where they once were. Now that our IKs are attached to the arms and legs and they have their pole controllers set up, we are ready and prepared to attach our hands and feet to those IKs as well and get those working.